Hi, everybody. I'm Dom.
And I'm Jaquan. And welcome back to Murderous Friends.
Welcome, welcome. So, today we're going to be talking about a case that's been kind of popular in the media. They've got a couple different documentaries about it, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this. And if you haven't, where have you been? Not on Netflix, apparently.
It's
So,
insane. But before we talk about the crash, like, do you think that people share too much on the internet?
I think that's kind of like a double-edged sword, you know? So, like, we're in the internet age. That's how people express themselves. But there is a such thing as oversharing on the internet for sure.
I think like everything, time and place. Uh, time and place for everything is the timing of when if you're going to take it, if you're going to push something. I feel like there's a time to do
Right.
that. Uh, when you're in the middle of an investigation, it's probably not, it's not
Yeah,
the best time to be
no.
on the internet
But
popping
also,
shit.
if you out here running around calling yourself a content creator and you think that's your job, do you just stop?
No. However, I wouldn't be up there talking shit when I'm under investigation. Like,
Actual, factual. Yeah. As you mentioned, time and a place. So, all right. So let's get into it. We're going to just first start by introducing the main characters. We've got Mackenzie Shrilla. She was born August 2nd in 2004. Dang, she's a little baby. But at the time she was 17 years old, and she was, like I said, an influencer on social media. So she was one of the people who had a very visible like footprint on the internet, right? She shared a lot of her life. She was aspiring to be because I don't know if she was technically an influencer. I don't know about any brand deals that she had, things of that nature, and what actually even qualifies you to be an influencer. But she called herself an influencer, and she had a bunch of different accounts over like TikTok, Instagram. I don't know if the kids in 2004 is really into Facebook, but I love my Facebook. Like, that's a way to share content too.
yeah, I was gonna say in the documentary, it was saying something about she was building up to being an influencer. She had so many followers.
At least in process, right? Because the only thing that I vividly remember was after everything, she responded to like brand deal situations. So I'm like, was she an influencer or was she an aspiring influencer? And in this case, just kind of maybe gave her a little more notoriety. More traffic is going to her pages and things like that. So her following is going up. That was a thought I had. Then another character in this story is Dominic Russo. He was born September 24th, 2001. He was raised in Ohio. Strongsville is the city that they're from. He was very close to his family. He had a brother named Angelo, and his sister was named Christine. And he was very interested in music and baseball. And it also mentioned that he was really big into trading stocks and things like that, among other things. Because it was insinuated in the documentary that he might have been, how do I say this, a traveling salesman?
Yeah, because he was definitely sponsoring Mama's lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was insinuated heavily, but nobody just flat out said it. You know what I mean? And then we get to Davion Flanagan. He was born March 11th of 2003. He was the oldest of three children, and he had two sisters. D- da- mm, I don't want to mess up this girl name. She was in a documentary, Davin and Dahlia, and he was adopted. His adopted parents was Jamie and Scott. He was the running back on his football team. And after graduation, he had dreams of becoming a barber and attending this barber college so he can pursue his dreams. So those are the three main characters, and there are some other characters. There were this friend group that Mackenzie was a part of. It was a boy named Bubba. They call that boy Bubba. I wonder where they got that nickname. It was probably like a childhood nickname. And then his girlfriend, who was an actual influencer because she had the following. She was friends with Mackenzie, and I feel like it was kind of like Mackenzie gravitated to this girl because she had the following and the lifestyle that she was trying to build. So I feel like, and even the way she described it, she was like, "Oh, we started off, writing each other on social media, and like, oh, you're cute, let's hang out." So I feel like it was kind of like Mackenzie's way of sliding into that type of lifestyle that she was trying to pursue.
Yeah, Mackenzie definitely gave more so attention seeking.
Well, because throughout the whole documentary, I just did not like her energy, her vibe, her like blatant denial, and her name is escaping me, but I don't even think they would call each other best friends. They were just in a close, tight knit friend group. And Dominic was Mackenzie's boyfriend, so obviously he was around. And Davion was friends with Bubba as well as Dominic. And yeah, so he was part of their friend group as well. Dominic was older, so he had graduated. I'm pretty sure at the time of the case, he was 20 years old. Mackenzie was 17. So her and Davion had just graduated from high school. They had did all the graduation things, celebrated. So after graduation, it's time to hit up the graduation parties. So they're party party hopping, trying to find out what the next biggest thing is. And these kids had a tendency to do some extracurricular activities. And it seemed like a lot of extra, like things that I wasn't even thinking about at 17. They were doing psychedelics and they were doing regular marijuana THC products and Lord knows what else. But they were also, it seemed like, and they didn't mention this explicitly, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't just, oh, we're going to do shrooms and then we're going to smoke a little and then we're going to do this. And I feel like they was doing it all at the same time. And I feel like that the combination of all of that is just super dangerous, especially if you're out and about and you're going here, you're going there, and you trying to find a party. And from the documentary, they found a party, but it just wasn't the vibe they was looking for. The girl's mom was there. They wasn't able to, did she say trip? They wasn't
Yeah,
able to
that's
trip
using
it.
that's using a reference for storms.
Right? So they're like, yeah, we weren't able to trip at that party. So we stayed there for a little bit and left. And then they were like bored and they decided to do a group slumber party with Bubba, his girlfriend. Davion, sadly, was the third wheel. He was there alone. And then Dominic and Mackenzie. But let's step back a little bit and let's talk about Mackenzie, because it's mixed reviews from everybody in this documentary about what type of girl she was. So you have her immediate friend group denying all the things that would have been looked at as native about her. Oh, she wasn't that type of girl. She wouldn't have done this. She wouldn't have done that. But then you talk to the people she went to in high school, they call her a bully. They call her a mean girl.
Yeah.
That video surfaced on TikTok where she was working in a McDonald's drive-through being rude. So like which one is it? Are y'all just saying this because y'all heard in circle?
Yeah, they compare her to Regina George.
Regina George, right? Like she was the stereotypical mean girl. So I believe the people she went to school with, not the immediate friend group, because of course you're gonna gas your friend up. Well, I don't know in some circles, because I'm the type of friend I'm gonna let you know when it ain't clicking for me. I'm gonna let you know where you had me messed up at, and I'm not gonna let you continue with this behavior unless, of course, they're the exact same type of people and
But
they
it
don't see the
depends.
wrong in it.
I get that, but I guess in this situation, like we talk about, are you on trial for like a murder or something? So I mean, that in that sense, if I have to say something, like, what do you say in that situation? My friend's on trial for possibly, killing these people, and I'm supposed to speak to their character. And I know my friend could, like, let's be clear, I'm not always the nicest. I could be an asshole. If pushy, I could be an asshole. And usually you surround yourself with like-minded people, people who can also be assholes too, right? So, but you speak of, that's just like the same, it's like this, in my mind, it's the same thing as if, you know how you use your friend as a reference when you go apply for a job, right? You know,
Right.
let your friend know, hey, I put you down as a reference that this job said that you did. I feel like when it comes to things like this, you'll do whatever you would want to do for your friends. So I definitely feel you on the close friends always going to speak up for you. But those things when we talk about morals and stuff, like I don't think that we put ourselves in real situations when it comes down to our friends being in situations. Are you really going to ride for your friend like that, or the bitch might be saying 45 plus years anyway, so I might as well just go ahead and drop the thought on,
Uh,
say because
I just feel like, to your point, you said when pushed, I can get there. She don't seem like the kind of girl that needs the pushing. She just gonna come like that. She
oh
just
yeah,
gonna come as a mean girl.
yeah, her social media presence gave very much like it don't take me much to turn up and
Yeah.
to always just be going off or going, especially I think her favorite. I mean, you have TikTok now, but I think her favorite thing was Snapchat. I think that was the
Oh,
thing of that
yeah.
was her that was her social media. From what I know, I don't have much experience with Snapchat. I know
Yeah.
that people like to send all kind of things on there,
It's
so
my
shit
least
lasts for
used
24
app.
hours.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
least used app, but I do have it.
so you can post
Right.
stuff, kind of get away with it, and that's what got her ass in trouble on that social media in the first place.
Yeah.
Because granted, it's not for 24 hours, but if they want to track some shit, maybe they'll find it.
They will find it. But also, taking a little step back, I wanted to ask the question. Before the documentary, before any of that, did you hear anything about this case? Did you know anything about Mackenzie or Dominic or Davion?
No, and then when I watched the documentary, I see why.
Yeah, yeah. They lived in a little small town in Ohio. Like, it wasn't a big thing until it was a big thing.
She was a little
Right.
white girl. So
Yeah.
again, we talked about this before. It's just like, yeah, she did it, but one of the victims was a black guy. So,
Right. Yeah. I personally knew absolutely nothing about the case. Even the video that I'm referencing from TikTok, I didn't see that until after I watched the documentary of the McDonald's drive-through and Mackenzie being rude to the customers in the drive-through. I didn't even know that was her in the video until I watched it. Like, I had to watch that twice. Like, why is this relevant? And then I realized, oh, that's Mackenzie, and she's proving the point of the people calling her a mean girl. So, yeah. So there were other things that was going on with Mackenzie in her personal life. I did read that when she was around 15 years old, the police were called to her home for a supposed suicide attempt. But this wasn't taken seriously because her parents were telling the officers that they didn't think it was a real threat. So I think this goes towards that attention seeking vibe that she gives off, because what about you threatening suicide makes your parents be like, oh, she just joking? You know what I mean? This must have been like an ongoing thing in their household, something that, like, the little boy who cried wolf type of ordeal. So that's what I'm thinking.
I can't wait to get into this parents. Let's really get into the details of like what happened in this case. Because I mean, the only other thing I really think that we should touch on before getting into the details of the actual crash was the fact that, granted, her and her boyfriend were on really no good terms. He was buying all of this for her. She didn't really have to ask for much. Mama wasn't doing shit, just smoking weed every day,
Right,
getting high. We ain't
right.
talking about Mama ain't just smoking a blunt or two a day. Like they was talking about how she was going through ounces, like
Yeah,
weeks, and all of that. So, and that was her whole social media presence, all that too. It
yeah.
was all over the internet, and all that.
In the
So,
car, smoking. In the party, smoking. Here, smoking.
and that was it. But back to the parents. The parents looked high as fuck throughout the whole documentary.
I thought that was just me. I'm like, are they spaced?
So she got that shit honest. Dad did all the talking. If you notice, Mom
Yeah.
was
She just kind
spaced.
of chimed in here and there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because she was
Mama,
hot. Mama smoke and she do edibles because she was stuck.
she might have got her hands on some of them psychedelics.
Uh,
she might have been,
listen,
she might have been on a trip the whole documentary.
something because she didn't have a care in the world. Like
Yeah. She just, yeah. Yep, that's my daughter and I'm gonna stick beside her. So, okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what actually happened that night, right? So, I did mention that they went to the graduation party. Wasn't quite their vibe because they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do. There was parental guidance there. There was just the vibe wasn't what they were looking for. It wasn't a party atmosphere. It was more like you have an open house and you invited your whole family, extended family, your grandma there, everybody. It's just a chill vibe. You're not going there to play rave music and eat shrooms. You're going there to eat some food, put your envelope in the card, and go on to the next spot. They were looking for a party. They didn't find it there. So they ended up doing the slumber party thing with their friend Paul. So it was Paul who house they were at. It was Bubba, his girlfriend. It was Dominic and Mackenzie, and then of course Davion. So he kind of wasn't the third wheel. He just wasn't booed up. Well, with his group that he came with, he was the third wheel. He just wasn't booed up. He ain't had nobody to be with there, but also Paul didn't have nobody to be with there either. So this is where they like, all right.
But one thing, I don't want to cut you off, but I think the interesting fact of him was, didn't he just had gotten injured, so he had found out he wasn't going to be able to go to college to play sports like he wanted to, correct?
Yes, yes.
And
And I
that's why
think,
he was even out with them in the
yeah,
first place trying to
yep,
party. I think
yep,
that's important to touch on because that was the
yeah.
only reason he was really even with them.
And I feel like that's devastating, right? You've done this high school career, you've been an outstanding running back. Your dreams, your aspirations are to go to college and keep pursuing this dream, and then that gets cut off by injury. So I think that is, and I don't want to speak for him, but that seems like what kind of shifted his perspective. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go and do a trade. I'll be a barber. I
Yeah.
could do this instead. So yeah, that was a big part as to even why he was out. I don't think it touched on it a lot in the documentary, just a little bit, but his parents did say that he was sad about it. His demeanor changed. He just kind of became like more solemn, sad about it. But obviously that's devastating news, especially if you've been 4 years pursuing this goal and then this comes out of nowhere and now that's not even a attainable goal for you anymore. So so they're at the kickback. They swear, they insist in the documentary that this wasn't a party. But the girl, what is that girl name?
Let me look up this girl
Now,
name again.
because I cannot remember it to save my life, and it's not in any of my notes. So they were at the thing, and was it that the girl text Mackenzie or did she text Dominic asking for some shrooms? And then she texts again and asks for weed. So they know for a fact that they were doing the marijuana and they found the psychedelics in the system. So they were doing those too. And I just think that is just overwhelming. Like, how high do you need to be at 17 and 20 years old? That's problematic for me. I take issue with that. But hey, these kids was living their life, whatever. And I think she mentioned something about grabbing a bottle of wine. And I'm like, who was getting this alcohol for y'all? Like,
I
alcohol
bet
wasn't that easily attainable for me when I was 17.
uh, it depends on who you know. You know, takes a little. I have a bit of an older friend, and again, we talk about the boyfriend possibly being a street pharmacist or whatever.
Right.
Nothing to have a sting or somebody to go get something.
Right.
And shit, she all over the internet. You know,
Yeah.
it was easy to get access to it. So I think that was the least of their words.
Right. So they at this kickback and they leave at around 5:30 in the morning. First of all, that's problematic to me because first of all, did y'all just not go to sleep or did you just wake up like and decide, oh, I want to go, it's 5:30? I think that's weird that was the time that they left. Like, okay, we couldn't have slept for a little bit and left at 8 a.m. Like, I just feel like that time was weird for me. And then not even 5 minutes later, they're on CCTV and you see her black car rounding the corner effortlessly. She's not speeding. She's not driving erratically. She's not doing any of the things in this Toyota Camry. She's just, cruising along as if they're going home. Uh, I thought this was very important to note. Dominic's the driver. Davion rode with them. Davion wasn't even supposed to be in that car. He was supposed to be staying the night at Paul's house so he can get up in the morning and help Bubba fix his truck. because they were friends and they had planned this whole thing. So I just find that's very sad that he wasn't even supposed to be in the car with them.
Hmm.
So back to it, they're about a minute later, because they're caught on the CCTV at 5:34. About a minute later, they're on the Alameda Drive where everything went down, and just speeding, just zooming down the street. Like you can hear the car accelerating and skirting off. And then next thing you know, crashed into the wall at the end of the street because it tees off. So it goes right, it goes left, and straight ahead is a brick building. There, boom, crash at over 100 miles, at or around 100 miles per hour, crash into this wall. Davion and Dominic, they die instantly on impact. Mackenzie is seriously injured. She's wearing this leg cast. She got something going on with her shoulder. One thing that I found interesting in the investigation is that the gear shift had been shifted before the impact. So that made me think, if Mackenzie's driving this car, is her car, Dominic's most likely in the passenger seat, and Davion in the back seat. Which one of these, the passenger or the back seat, tried to shift this gear to stop this car from crashing into this wall? Because that's what it seemed like to me. Somebody tried to stop the impact, but it didn't help. So first responders, they arrive at the scene about 45 minutes later. They find all three of them unconscious, and they pronounce Dominic and Davion deceased at the scene. And then they're going through the car. They had to use the jaws of life to get Mackenzie out, because the crash, like, if you can imagine a crushed up soda can, that's what the car looked like crushed. So they had to use the jaws of life to get Mackenzie out. And she's like incoherent. They get her on a stretcher, they take her to the hospital. And then they're like going through trying to figure out who these people are in the car. And they find the mushrooms, and then they find like the IDs, and they're able to identify the bodies. So, so one thing about this, the whole timeline for me, because the 5:30 a.m. we want to leave, crash into the wall not even 5 minutes later, and then it takes the police 45 minutes to get there. Like this early morning, what, in a small town in Ohio, what is going on that it took y'all 45 minutes to respond to this scene? Was it just not reported, or like did it take a passerby to notice that it was something going on? What took so long? Cuz 45 minutes seemed like a long time.
I agree. In a small town.
Yeah. In the documentary, her parents waited to tell Mackenzie that Dominic had died and that Davion had died. And they I understand that they want to make sure that their daughter is healing and they don't want to add any extra stress. But I would have been that would have been one of the first things that I would have mentioned, because she's steady asking for him. She's steady asking where he at. She wondering what happened to him and all this and the third. I would have told her, like, what was the suspense about? What was the waiting about? Because she's gonna be as injured as she is after you tell her anyway. It's not gonna change the state of her injuries or anything like that.
But the same could be said about Mackenzie. Why you so? I mean, you again, you're in here banged up yourself. Why are you so adamant on saying is he okay? Because again, we talking about this case because the suspicion is that you did this shit on purpose.
Right.
So, why is it that you so adamant on wondering if he survived or not? Like,
Right.
what
Did you succeed?
yeah,
Right.
because and let's address the why we left at 5:30 in the morning. We've all been somewhere under the influence. It probably was supposed to stay somewhere all night and just wasn't feeling it no more, and we just left. Especially if we talk about
True.
shrooms, we talk about weed, we talk about
Oh
alcohol.
my God.
We don't know what else cocaine could have been involved. Not to say this, but we don't know what all was involved. But once you understand the influence, that you ain't gonna want to sit in the same spot, especially if you're doing something like some shrooms or something that's like a upper in a sense, or anything that's going to make you want to move around. You're not going to want to stay at your sleepover. Everybody else who low and, trying to go to bed and all that, on that. So 5:30 probably was, we can go find something else to do. It's three of us. We can go do whatever we want. We can sing, we can get high, we can go drinking. Maybe that's how it was sold. That's how it was for them
Maybe.
to be able to leave. But,
Yeah.
at 5:30 in the morning in a small town, like, yes, you have it, but it's not like you're in a big city where you probably staffed with 1 million people overnight. So it might take time. And we, got to take into account of they in a small town, and for that impact of that, for that crash or whatever, they probably needed to come from another city, from another, city, whatever. So, and not to take away, not to say that it was right, because we definitely want to get into kind of some of the steps of the investigation. But
Uh-huh.
I just kind of think about at 5:30 in the morning where law enforcement is at, because even in the major city, shit, the clubs and stuff is closing at 3. You might have to deal with people for like another hour or two, but by 5:30, 6 o'clock, that's when stuff is winding down. So, they probably was chilling, thinking, oh,
At
I'm
the
about to get
police
off in an hour and a
station.
half. Yeah, I'm getting off in an hour and a half. And,
Mhm.
oh, it's just a little fender bender. But the way that that car, like you said, was crushed up, that was a major impact. So, at least the paramedic should have got there at a decent
Yeah. Yeah. So the height of Mackenzie's like online sensationalism happened after the crash. She was in the hospital. She was posting all these videos about her and showing that her leg was in this full cast and just documenting her injuries and things like
She
that.
wants seeking attention. That's what that was.
Exactly. I think I will 100% agree that that's what was the case because she never once posted anything about Dominic, never once posted anything about Davion, no condolences, no, it was all her. It was all, oh, I'm in the hospital, I'm so banged up. Oh, just look at me. I'm so hurt. So so then at first the police are thinking this was just a terrible accident. They're thinking like, okay, maybe there could have been drugs or alcohol involved, something that impaired her mental status that caused this terrible accident. They also went through, um, especially with it being a Toyota Camry, because they had those recalls and all that stuff going on. So they thought it could have been a malfunction with the vehicle. So they were going through all of these things trying to get to the bottom of it. And they they couldn't figure it out. So then this is when the real investigation begins. They start to looking at the black box of the car. They're evaluating the toxicology reports from the victims as well as Mackenzie. Their
So,
toxicology reports come back. Oh, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, because it's going to go into the toxicology reports and everything. But my whole thing is, do you think that that benefit of the doubt would have been given from the jump, as far as like, because just how much there would have been questioning at the hospital while you were sitting in bed as far as like what
Mhm.
happened. This
Uh-huh.
girl had a chance to go home with her family and all that
Yeah.
before questions were answered,
Mhm.
asked, right?
Yeah.
Um, do you think that that same grace would have been extended had the driver been black? Do you think that this would have been handled the same way?
I definitely think that if it was a person of color who was driving, say, let's even play happenstance. Say it was Davion driving the car and he was the sole survivor. They definitely would question him at the hospital. It wouldn't have been no, oh, we just think this is a terrible accident. You're free to go. They would have questioned that boy in the hospital, injuries and all, on
And it's not
medication and all.
right, and I'm not trying to make this like a race thing, but again, it comes down to things made about race, but this girl was literally, they were under the influence, regardless of her toxicology or whatever the case is. It wasn't a question because of who she was. That wasn't even a question at first.
Uh-huh.
What happened, right?
Yep.
But had the shoe been on the other foot, that would have been the first thing. What were you drinking? What were you doing out at 5:30 in the morning? All these questions that we sitting up there asking each other. We talking about why they was at this time. All those questions would have came into account from jump. It wouldn't have been
Yeah.
no, oh, maybe this is the wrong time. No, because you black and you out at 5:30 in the morning. What you doing? If you
What
ain't
you
going to work,
doing?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
like,
Yep. Yep. And that was never even brought into question. So they run the toxicology reports. They find THC, psychedelics in both of the boys' system. However, Mackenzie came back clean. She's got nothing. She's 100% sober according to the toxicology reports. So what happened?
I, mm,
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you the scheme that was set up by Todd.
that Todd set up because That's how the only way she came to us with this bullshit is because Todd said this shit earlier.
Todd set up the whole scheme, honey. Apparently, Miss Mackenzie has POTS syndrome. And she blacked out. She has no recollection of the crash, no recollection of the events leading up to the crash. And POTS syndrome is something that where a person periodically blacks out.
Oh, you mean what her parents died from? So got the
I'm like,
pothead household and what they got, else they done with. Got it.
how many hours of research did they do to come up with this?
Oh, nothing. The first thing they saw was pot, and that was it.
That's it. Yeah, we'll go
That's
with
what it
that.
is.
We'll go with that.
Because
So
one
I'm
thing we
just
do
like,
know in the Midwest, our fellow Caucasians do refer to the marijuana as pots.
pot,
So,
pot.
you know,
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, apparently Mackenzie got POTS with no diagnosis, no medical records, no history of POTS. I'm like, show me your my chart. I want to see it. I want to see one visit where you went for POTS.
and you
I-
know, she's never logged into my chart. Shit, and
so,
her parents don't look like they ever logged into my chart either. So, let me stop.
so, um, by November 4th, the police had gotten enough evidence to finally arrest Mackenzie. She was charged with different crimes, which include 4 murder counts, 2 felonious assault counts, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide. But she got a lot of charges, and she needed them charges because she's crazy. So the police gathered all this information. They got the black box from the car. They had the toxicology reports. Now they're trying to figure out the motive. Like, what? Why would she have done this? And in my research, it did show that her and Dominic had kind of like a toxic relationship almost. Like, it was very wishy-washy. It was like one minute they were super lovey-dovey. He was showering her with gifts. The next minute she was just flying off the handle at him.
She had 12 charges, just to clarify. I think she has 12.
Oh,
It was the 4 counts of murder, felonious assault, 2 counts of vehicular homicides, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools.
okay, okay.
But
Yeah, so
yeah, no, it was discussed even in the documentary. It was discussed about how they had a bad argument because remember it was supposed to be text messages between her and was it Rosie?
Rosie.
Uh,
Yes, that's Bubba girlfriend named Rosie.
yeah, Rosie. I think it was messages between how she was upset with him
Mhm.
about something that he had did or whatever. So, and that's where that was when that once they got a hold of when they start looking into social media, start looking into text messages stuff, they start to uncover more of who Mackenzie really was because they were
Mhm.
starting to see like that name girl that people may have been saying, she's popping off in text messages to certain people about what
Mhm.
has been going on. So yeah, her and her boyfriend had gotten into it prior
Yeah.
to that. And so that is what in my mind connected to like, okay, you were upset with him the day before. And let's be clear, especially at a young age, if you're being taken care of, the bills are being footed for you, it could have been something as simple as, well, I'm not buying this for you today, or because I'm upset with you today, and it could have just set her off. There were so many substances too, like, and that's another one of my questions. Do you think that she could have been dealing with a substance abuse issue? Because to constantly want to, and I understand that she was thin at this time, but younger not. And the way that her parents look like they've been in the game doing drugs for a long time, who's to say that she ain't picking no tricks from them to know how to, trigger drug test or to,
Yeah.
you know, be able to kind of, still be under this thing because toxicology or not, we gonna be in your system for 30 days or whatever. So that's probably just, you know, one thing I do. They said that there was with just marijuana there, but they didn't find traces of really much of anything else as
Uh-huh.
far as where everything else. So it seems like what was going on was you tried to make sure that they got fucked up at this party. And as the night progressed on and they probably didn't want to sit still, cool, let's go ahead. If you still pissed off for him,
Uh-huh.
I'm not a woman, but I know what it is to be in my feelings
Yeah.
sometimes, right? And not to say that I would take it to the extremes, but I know what it is to be in my feelings sometimes. And uh, letting it go until I get under the influence, and then I'm in my feelings.
Then you in that
And right now
mode, right?
they're exemplified, and we I'm not a Regina George or Mean Girl. At least I try not to be. Try not to give up that. But I don't think that would take to the far as trying to like off, you know, my partner or especially that my friend who ain't got nothing to do with anything.
Right. They mentioned in the documentary two key points that kind of are sticking with me in terms of a motive, right? So there was text messages, like you had mentioned, text messages between Dominic and Mackenzie, and she basically said, if he break up with me, I'm taking everybody out. Me too.
Yeah.
So bet that's what it seemed like happened. And then also Dominic's parents were under the impression that he was ready to break up with her. He was ready to be done with her, kick her to the curb and end their relationship. So maybe that was something they had talked about and they had got back together and she still had that in the back of her mind, like, he's gonna leave me. So this was her plan. She said she was gonna take them both out.
And I can see that because it doesn't seem like and it's not the judge. They didn't the family the mom and dad didn't really get into what their lifestyle was, but it doesn't seem like that because the way that they were talking about his money, it didn't seem like they had a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
So it could have been she didn't want to lose that. But it's like, girl, if you
Yeah.
kill him, you ain't gonna have shit.
Right. Because
You
they
know?
did
So
keep mentioning how he could take care of her. He could pay the bills. He was well off. They lean more into the non-illegal of it, like the stocks and the things like that. But I'm pretty sure a lot of that cash flow came from his side gig.
I mean, they didn't want to disgrace the man after their
Right.
daughter and killed him. That's
Right.
the least they could do was speak up for him, the positive manner. He did take care of your daughter.
Yeah.
And not to ever blame anything on the dead or on the victim, but like you very well may have created this goddamn monster too. Like,
Yeah.
bitches feel like they got to get everything that they,
Yeah.
feel like they need. And especially at a young age, you
Yeah.
see this
They
young girls all
started
the
dating.
time. Like,
She was
yeah,
13. He was 17. So this had been what she had known.
especially in the time when we're growing up in this culture, everybody wants a sugar daddy. Everybody wants a sponsor. Everybody wants somebody that's going to foot the bill for the tab. And
Uh-huh.
so, again, at that young age, she probably, yeah, graduated high school, but or finished school or whatever. I don't have no real plan. She didn't have no plan of what else she wanted to do besides get high. And
Be an influencer. That
yeah,
was her plan.
and that's why I said, do you think she had a substance abuse? Because it seems like every single thing that she was posting had something to do with her being high, her smoking. And remember, that was the thing that they kept posting. That's what, even though again, Snapchat is 24 hours, they can still go pull your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of her stuff was that. So after they ended up letting her, even after she was under investigation, they still let the bitch walk the streets. She gets on the internet and start popping shit about, oh well, I'm innocent and these motherfuckers is trying me and this is like, bro, you
Yes.
just going all off at the mouth talking crazy
Yes.
like you're not number one suspect, bitch. You was
Right.
driving his car.
She's texting his family members, copping pleas, talking about, oh, I didn't do this, asking, can I come to his house and get my lip gloss? Girl, if you don't stay at home.
But then she made it some post to shoot some, doing all this. I'm that bitch, like motherfuckers can't hold me down. I'm free. Like that was the
Yeah.
wrong bitch to make. And again, had this been somebody of color doing that shit, OWP would have
Oh,
locked
they
your ass
coming to
up. Would
get
have been
you. They're coming to
at,
get you
at this point, you would have been on death row just because of the fact that you thought it was cheap to get on the internet
because you
talking
thought
shit.
you had a key. Yeah, we'll show you a key. So she ended up choosing to do a bench trial, and this is where the judge determines the person's guilt. She didn't have a jury. Um and she was found guilty. They took all that evidence and they went over it, and through their investigation they say, yeah, you did this. You did this, Victor. You did this. So, and in my expert opinion as a not a judge, I
as
think
a as a not a judge, just say a
yes.
criminal justice professional, girl. That's
I think she did it too. I think she was upset at the fact that maybe her and Dominic's relationship was coming to an end. Maybe there was a little bit of I get somebody did touch on the fact that she might have had an ED. Uh that's mental. She probably could have used some counseling, some therapy. But I think she had been accustomed to this lifestyle, and she saw that crumbling and not lasting as long as she thought it might. So she decided to enact this plan, and I feel like she was trying to take everybody out. Personally, she just happened to not meet the same fate as them. I feel like she was trying to take herself out too, because that was what she said.
She seemed to really, yeah. And then again, from those messages, it really gave that. But it, like you said, just doesn't seem like she was as successful. It seemed like she faked the entire night of getting fucked up with everybody else.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and as we were getting to wrap this up, that was going to be my question. Like, did you think that she purposely did? And you already answered that. It seemed like she did it herself. But I would say yes. I definitely think that this was done on purpose. I think it was driven by emotion.
100%.
I definitely think that it was an emotionally driven thing, but I definitely think that it was done on purpose, just getting at her feelings or whatever the case is. But I um I think emotions play a big role in a lot of people being murdered or being killed. Um,
I've got a
I, I-
question for you. Going back to like the investigation of it all, is there anything that you would have done differently in this investigation, or do you think that the police
oh
did
yeah,
their due diligence?
everybody would have been questioned from the jump. I would have gone to the car scene. First of all, let's go back to that flip flop whole ordeal. Once you had talked about some shit got stuck, but your flip flop was nowhere near position and whether it was supposed to, and this whole crushed up car, but your shit, your flip flop just as loose as everything else up down this motherfucker. I just think that just from jump, I would have been at the hospital like a as much as mama was sitting up here trying to guard you from what you did. The police should have been there as in their face as they would have been if it was a person of color trying to see exactly what happened.
I almost forgot. Her and her mama was in the hospital speaking pig Latin, trying to throw off the
Yeah.
detectives.
hmm hmm
Is
That's what I'm
that not
saying.
a
So,
is that not a sign of guilt? Is that not a sign of trying to conceal something? Why didn't they
so
question them?
and that's why I said I would have been differently from the jump. Yes, I would have been questioning, but it would have been more pressing. Like, well, we need you to come down to the station. Not that you got home, and now that's my thing. I would have carried it out different because you wouldn't have had a chance to go home and get to posting all that shit on social media before you came out here at a formal investigation. Because the fear should have been putting you from the jump to know, hey,
Yes.
this is serious. Because what her little privilege showed her was, I did this, I can go home, I still have access to everything else that I need,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I,
The same fear of this system is not put into everybody. Like it's put into people of color. We fear it every once we are even approached by police, we already know that we've lost it.
yeah. Honey, because she was out at Playboy Cardi concerts. She was doing Halloween dress ups with her friends,
Like, girl,
like
doing crazy shit. Because who the fuck is going to see Playboy Cardi in
in
concert?
a wheelchair with your
Nah,
leg propped
who
up
the
in
fuck
the,
is going out to see him in concert?
it. You in a full body cast going to go see Playboy Cardi, girl. What? And then talking about, oh, Dominic, we were supposed to go to this concert together. Girl, no, you just wanted to still go to the concert because you wanted to be outside.
Because let me tell you something. I have canceled many things when I've lost friends and family just because I just didn't feel like being bothered. I didn't want to go do anything. So there's no way that you just out here in this fucking wheelchair at this fucking concert trying to still be seen. So maybe the question I should have asked, as opposed to the substance abuse issue, maybe she got a mental problem, mental health issue, or just maybe she's
I think
narcissistic or
the
misplaced.
attention seeking, the pick meness of it all is a mental illness. I think because
Yes.
she was just so her. Everything's about me.
And I feel like when people now, don't get me wrong. I've met some people who can truly be empty themselves, and I understand some people it's a confidence thing. Some people have never had that confidence in their life, and they get
Mm.
to that point of like, let me pop my shit on myself to do things. But the constant seeking of attention from everybody else,
Yeah,
when if you love this man so much and you worried about losing him, you should have been at home focusing on trying to mend that or do that. Especially that man 4 years, he was already 4 years older than you. He already
yeah,
took a risk on dating your ass, and he had no reason dating your ass in the first place.
yeah.
And
Even
now,
oh, I'm so sad because they were so young. Like everybody in this story was so young, and it's just like a tragic loss of life.
imagine you out here being a street pharmacist, allegedly. you know,
Allegedly.
been a street pharmacist or whatever, and you got to worry about shit like being locked up or losing your life to the opposite. The bitch that take you out is the pussy that you blame them to every night.
Every night, like y'all in love, y'all living together, y'all doing all of the things. And this the one that take you out? Be so for real.
And your friend. And again, I feel so bad for him because he was going through a rough patch of life, and I feel like now in my mind for a little bit I was kind of naive to like, oh, people who play sports they don't smoke weed, our teachers don't drink, they don't do all these things until I became an adult, and I realized that people do things and are still
They
able to
do all of
maintain
the
their
things.
lives.
Yes.
And so I feel like, and I'm not, don't know anything about him. It's like, well, maybe he knew him from, maybe he smoked a little weed with him every now and then, or maybe they just had been friends when he was in school, but just continuing, he had a backup goal and everything. And unfortunately, it's taken away from him because of the fact
Uh-huh.
that, something again, our emotions tend to make a lot of decisions for us.
Yeah,
But, I do have a backup plan. And I'm glad that he did have a backup plan because I think if nothing else, grab from this or grab from this, if people can pick up is like, there are other avenues. If you might not have your number one plan, might not be your thing, but it's just really sad for him. Um, it's sad for both of them because again, here she is with her name being at the forefront and everything is about her. There's not two victims who lost their life
exactly.
because of whatever a boy was doing to make ends meet or to pay for this bitch to get high or pay for her bags and all
Yeah.
her shit and having a roof over her head. It still did deserve for him to lose his life just because it seemed like y'all just had a little argument the day before.
So she was ultimately sentenced to 2 concurrent life sentences, but the plot twist is she'll be eligible for parole after 15 years.
Well, she better
So,
sit there.
but she has appealed her conviction 3 times as of 2026, and all 3 appeals have been denied. So at the very most, she'll sit down for these 15 years, and girl, you better do everything in that jailhouse to show that you are reformed. You better enter every college program you can. You better be a trustee in there. You better be showing these people that you have changed your life. Even in the interview, she seems so nonchalant about everything.
Oh, she was in the courtroom, nonchalant.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad for her. Mama can,
yeah.
right.
Ugh. It's just so sad because you just conveniently blacked out. You have no recollection of anything. Girl, go to go to hell.
She really reminded me of, what's the little girl's name? Bad Barbie, the one who catch me outside. But
Catch me
that's what
outside.
she. That's what she
Mhm.
reminded me of so
Yeah.
much. Like, oh, and watching her attitude, the way that she carried
Mhm.
herself. That's what she reminded me of, and I just
Yeah.
was disgusted with this. You just have no regard for the fact that you took two people's lives, and you just have just gone on carried yourself like you just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, like, girl, sit them 15 years down, and I hope they don't grant you parole. I hope you spend 30 years in there before they grant you parole.
Oh, she come across my girl Shanterica, and they put together a program. Because at this point, like, shit.
This case stressed me out just because, like, life lost for nothing. Often emotional response is crazy.
In closing, we don't really talk about mental health, right?
Mm.
And how serious it is. We talk about substance abuse, but mental health leads to substance abuse issues because I don't know how to handle myself. I'm not in my right mind. And
Yeah.
not to
Can't
say that
cope.
it was, yeah, not to say that it was right, but it seems like sis had, maybe she had some things going on at home. We don't know. Maybe she just be spoiled white girl wanted to be taken care of, but then we're losing. But either way, it didn't warrant for them folks to lose their life because of the fact that you felt the way. So yes, I wholeheartedly feel like she did this shit on purpose.
Yes.
I do think that mental health is definitely serious and it can lead to substance abuse issues and lead to uh, the emotions of killing people, even in a sense of, just be clear, it seemed to be premeditated because what the fuck are you not as fucked up as everybody else? Everybody else's
Right.
toxicology reports are not. And so, in closing, you got to watch these people when they're mental because the shit, the shit gets real. It really does. Just like I cannot wait to talk about what's definitely probably mental is this maternal instinct
Oh,
that we got up next.
oh, can't wait to dive into that one because, baby, she was going through psychosis.
psychosis, and it goes with just that, like, it's one thing to in the heat of the moment emotion, but we're planning
Oh,
stuff like everybody else in the car in this supposed crash that happened out of nowhere.
yeah.
Their toxicology reports is 10 times worse than what yours are, but
Right.
your social media presence gives that you're always under the influence. Your
Yep.
text
No
messages show that you're
malfunctions with
always.
the car. No, showed that the brake was pressed, honey. The brake, no, she did not let up off that brake. How was this an accident? You, yeah, it was intentional. So that's my final thought.
Okay.
Intentional.
Mackenzie girl, goodbye. You
Goodbye,
know,
girl.
in 15 years, hopefully they pull up this video. Hopefully pull up this video and say, you know what? They had some
And
good points. They
in
had some
15
good points.
years, Mackenzie, respond to this video in 15 years. I like to see that.
They in prison. They get depending on maybe they'll get her to a low security throughout the year,
Okay.
so that she might get a little internet access or
Get the
burn her picture.
tablet. She can get on the
No,
tablet.
well, she a little young. At this point, she may already be somebody's prisoner. Somebody probably already
Oh,
got her phone.
yeah, yeah.
So Mackenzie girl, if you see this, please hit us in the comments and maybe we can
Yes.
bring you on for a little live or something.
A little Q&A.
Since she
Well,
likes social media so much.
right. Oh my God. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all the social media accounts. That is TikTok, that is Facebook, that is
Instagram.
YouTube, Instagram, and
Definitely
you could
YouTube.
definitely YouTube.
Subscribe. Oh, we are also on Spotify. Definitely. If
Yes.
you cannot watch, please be sure to follow us at Murderous Friends on Spotify. You can definitely listen on your way to work, while you at work, all of that. So we're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Just don't let your supervisor tap you on the back while you're listening if you're not allowed.
Well, I mean, if they do tap them, tell them to listen to. Tell them to subscribe to. We here for everybody. Just
Yeah.
tell them that it's real, raw, and it's uncut every
And
time.
it's uncut, baby, just for y'all. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.